Hey y'all. So I was going to do a video about the ego, like my ego and how it was my detriment. But when I was getting ready, did more lights fall? Sorry, I heard something like fall and I was like, did more lights fall? Because I have some lights over there that was hanging and they fell. So yeah. But as I was getting ready, like for the day and stuff, I had the thought of how after I posted my first video yesterday, I got hit with a huge wave of imposter syndrome. And I don't know how to explain it to you, but I truly feel like in this season, I'm going to achieve all that I ever set out to achieve. And that's the most trust I've ever had in myself. Like this moment right here, right now, is the most trust I've ever had in myself about anything. But it's so scary because in the back of my head, I'm dealing with negative thoughts that are just like, who are you to chase these dreams? Who are you to think that you're going to get what you're wishing for, hoping for, desiring? Like, who are you? Like, who do you think you are? And sorry, I was getting a little choked up about that. But I just feel like for so long, I've had dreams of, pursuing different creative things or just doing unconventional things that would set me apart from people, because that's just something I've always wanted to do. I don't care if I stand out from the crowd. I just care if I'm having fun. Am I happy? Am I joyful? Like, that's what I like. But in my girlhood, because I do feel like I'm in the era of stepping into my womanhood. I just saw 222. That number, I swear that number is following me everywhere. But in my girlhood, all those things that made me, I had to like stuff them in a box because I felt like people was not accepting of who I truly was. Like, I was not in the spaces, I was not around the people who would wholeheartedly support what I wanted to do. And I'm not just saying that like, oh, for like toxic relationships, because no, not everything that's like that is like a toxic relationship. It's just sometimes it's people's projection of, well, I can't do that, or I never got the opportunity to do that, or maybe I did do that and I failed at that, and maybe I don't want you to go through that. I don't want you to sorry, I literally just saw 22. Hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Okay, I'm back. So, I don't always, like I was saying, I don't always think when you're in spaces like that, it just automatically means toxic. It doesn't have to be malicious intentionally or toxic intentionally. It could literally just be, hey, I've done this before, or I've seen somebody do this before and they failed at it. Like, I don't want you to go through that. I don't want you to waste your life pursuing something and it's not a guaranteed. And when I say that, I feel like I'm really getting emotional. Sorry. I am so sorry. But when I think of that, I think of my mom. That's what pops up in my head. 55. But I don't feel like she was the type to hold me back. She's always instilled in me, I want you to be independent. I want you to experience the world. I want you to literally taste all the fruits that the world has to offer. I want you to do that. She just said that for both me and my brother. But I feel like when it came to me pursuing maybe things that she didn't quite understand or didn't see my vision, because that's something I would joke about that a lot. Like, I'm very out there with the way I dress and stuff, or do my makeup or whatever. And there is times I love consulting with my mom about things. That's my best friend. I love talking to her. But I'd be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, ooh, I like this. And she'd be like, and I'm like, yes, because you don't see the vision. You don't see the vision. And that's something I would say to her all the time. And I think it's so funny because now thinking about it, I'm not saying she's, not supportive of me wanting to pursue my creative endeavors now. It's more so of like, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to stand by you. But I know there's a part of her on the inside that is very... That's so funny because I'm talking about my mom and I literally get a TikTok notification and it's about my mom. Oh, that's so funny. But I just know there's a small part within her that is very fearful of like me and my brother not making it, because she had to work so hard just to get to where she is now. And I look up to her. I've always looked up to her, and she is one of my greatest inspirations. But the toughest things, I'm getting emotional again. One of the toughest things I had to come to terms with lately was I put my mom on this unfair pedestal and she never asked to be on there. And I feel like a lot of people do that with their parents, especially parents you look up to because you've seen them, had to do things by themselves, or, they were just a single parent. It's stuff like that. You kind of idolize them and you worship them like they're this superhero, this super being. And I had to come to terms with, like, she's not a superhero. She's a hero in my eyes, but she's still a human. She still has her own life. She still has her own dreams. She still has her own memories, her own perceptions of things. And those perceptions are based off of her life experiences. And I know when maybe she kind of discourages like me and my brother from like pursuing something because she thinks it's really risky, it's not out of I don't think you can do it. It's out of I love you so much and I want you to do the things you want. I want you to pursue the things you want to do, but I don't want to see you fail. I don't want to see you down and out. And sorry. My mom, she has seen me in spaces where I was on rock bottom. She's seen me in spaces like that. And in order for me to continue in those spaces, I would escape a lot. I would avoid going home because I felt very guilty. I felt very shameful. And I literally there's tissue in here. I literally felt like I was letting her down, and she was trying so hard, to help me in any way she could. And I remember having a talk with my man, and I was telling him, oh, I remember, my eyes are so foggy. I can barely see myself clearly because of the tears. But I remember telling him how my mom stated, if you can't talk to me about what you're going through, I want you to talk to someone. And I couldn't talk to her about what I was going through because I felt like I was being silly, and I felt like even if I did explain where I was coming from, there would be this disconnect. It's not like we didn't both want the same thing for me. It was, she was ready for me to move on. She was ready for me to, you know, essentially get my head out my ass. And I still was in that space because I still had lessons to learn. And so when she even suggested that I go back to therapy, I appreciated that. That was a simple, yeah, I'll do that. I had no problem loading all my stuff onto a stranger because I felt like, this stranger, you're literally here to hear my problems. I'm not going to waste my time. I know I have problems and I want to talk to someone about them. But to talk to someone so close to me about what I'm going through, it makes me really vulnerable, because I'm like, I don't want to get judged. I don't want to let you down. I don't want to feel like a failure. I don't want to essentially what it sounds like is, I don't want you to see me as a human. And humans mess up. Humans mess up big time, okay? And that's essentially, that just came to me. Essentially what I was telling her, or just telling anyone that was close to me that wanted to talk to me about what I was going through, I was essentially saying, like, you cannot see this mask that I put up slip off my face, because I played a good game. I played a tremendous game. I made it even look effortless. I made it look good. But inside, I struggle so hard eternally, you know? And I don't want you to see that part of me, because that's not, you know, that part's not happy. You know, that part's not I felt like that part wasn't lovable. But in the middle of all of that, that's where connection was. You know, that's where you actually saying, like, okay, this person truly has unconditional love for me. Like, that's where you're going to find it. In those moments where you feel like, I don't want to let you in because I don't want you to see what I'm struggling with. In those moments, you should always take those moments. You should always take those moments. But in those moments, that's where you're going to find true connection. That's where you're going to find understanding. And that's where you're even going to see someone else's perspective as to why they do or say certain things. And I for the most part, I had to kind of separate myself from my family. I'm in the season where I'm separating myself from my family because I'm unloading and unpacking so much emotional baggage within me, or even just trying to understand why I was carrying certain beliefs with me, or why I felt like I couldn't fully show up as myself. And in order to do that, I needed silence. I needed space. And I'm even feeling like that now within my relationship. I was very much so gung-ho, tied to my person, very codependent. Those are issues within itself that I had to work out. But I'm now in a space where it's like, I need complete silence. I need to just hear myself. I need to understand what's going on here so I could show up and be a better person in the roles that I carry. It's been very tough these last couple of weeks, but really last week was really tough. And I just felt so exhausted. I really felt so exhausted because I felt like a fraud. I felt like a failure. And I felt like I was doing everything wrong. Even though I know now that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just going through the motions. I'm feeling what I've been suppressing for so long. And I'm actually taking inspired action on the things that I've always wanted to do, but I shied away because I didn't know how people would take me. And yesterday, like I said, yesterday I felt major imposter syndrome. And that's because I felt like me even just talking about that, me being addicted to my ex, me just talking about that, I felt like I was beating a dead horse. And I felt like so many other people talk about stuff like that. Who's going to want to watch this? Like, why are you even trying? Like, I was beating myself up for trying. That's crazy. It's crazy. And it's showed me that I just need to give myself grace. I'm literally doing this because this is what I want to do. No one's forcing me to do this. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for the accolades. I'm doing it because this is something I've always wanted to do as a teenager. Watching YouTube videos and watching, you know, I watch Nikki Glamour. I watch Hey Paris. I will watch, you know, makeup gurus or different vloggers, and they're showing up and they're telling their truth and they're being themselves. And I would be like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Hell, I even had people tell me along the way, you should do that, 1333. But people would be like, yeah, girl, what you just went through, that's crazy. You should make a story time on that. Or I don't understand why you're not like on TV, or why you aren't on YouTube. Your personality, like, yeah, go for that. And I would just always tell myself like, yeah, like, yeah, right. Because in the back of my head, I always thought, what makes me so special? Like, what makes me think I'm going to succeed in aiming for that goal? Like, I'm not going to be like the people I watch and like have a community full of people. And I truly felt like that. I was just like, I'm just gonna be another silly girl on the internet. Well, fuck it, I'm here today. I guess I'm a silly girl on the internet. I guess I am just balls to the wind, because why not? Why not? Oh, I needed that cry. I needed to get that message out. I really did. I feel like my nose is running, but it's really not. It's just sorry, that's not flattering. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I feel like I could definitely expand on a lot of things that I touched upon in this video, like, you know, my relationship with my parents, or, you know, relationship with peers and stuff like that. But my main message, it got out, and that was the only thing I was trying to accomplish with this. So I think I'm gonna spend some time outside. Usually after a good cry, after a good vulnerable session, I like to go outside. I'm trying not to, like, you know, garden, you know, partake in the garden activities as much, because I've noticed it makes me feel so like blah. And I feel like when I feel like blah, it makes the negative thoughts so much louder. So I'm gonna go get some sunlight, because I know I am deficient in vitamin D. So yeah, bye y'all.